But what we're going to do today is to demonstrate to the viewers how thieves are using these radio signals to determine whether or not you have something in your car that's worth breaking into. And of course, these MAC addresses that you see here are the way that you could connect to it. But in this case, the thieves aren't interested in connecting or hacking. They just want to steal it. And then, of course, they'll try to sell it. In this case, it's a LE, General Discoverable Mode, all right, with gives us the device's MAC address. And from the MAC address, we can tell what company made it. And oftentimes you can see here, it'll tell us the name and the company. This is DragonOS. DragonOS is a operating system designed specifically for SDR, software-defined radio. So it's a way of hacking radio signals.
I want to thank Brilliant for sponsoring this video and putting together training like this that explains how Wi-Fi works. So as an example, many devices send messages wirelessly. We've got Bluetooth, we've got Wi-Fi, and notice these are sent using electromagnetic waves. So what's the difference between Wi-Fi and me speaking? Or, as they've got here, a foghorn. When I speak and you hear me, waves are sent through the air. But that's different to electromagnetic waves. Notice a mobile phone, Bluetooth speakers, and handheld radio use electromagnetic waves, but notice a foghorn doesn't. It uses the air. But how are digital signals transmitted through the air, using Wi-Fi as an example? Notice we can transmit ones and zeros by switching between two amplitudes, one representing 0 and one representing 1. So as an example, we could do that. So how is a binary signal encoded here? Notice that, hopefully, is correct. And this is what I like about Brilliant. It's a very interactive training. Here we're told that a higher amplitude represents a 1. So the 4 sections of the wave represent 1, 0, 1, 1 in binary. So notice if you send a message, what's actually happening is binary values, digital values, are transmitted through the air using Wi-Fi as an example, and are decoded on the other side, put into binary, and then your message is displayed on your screen. Now you could also change the phase of the waves to represent different values. So to summarize, if we want to send binary through the air, this is using amplitude, this is using frequency, and this is using phase to send binary values so that, for example, you can listen to music on a Bluetooth speaker, or you can watch a YouTube video through Wi-Fi networks. It's very important that you don't just learn how to hack networks, but you also understand how networks work. Very interactive training explaining how networks work as an example in basic language with lots of explanations and lots of interactive quizzes that you need to complete. To try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/David Bombal or click on the link in the video description. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. Hey everyone, it's David Bombal back with the amazing OTW. OTW, it's been too long. Great to have you back on the channel.
Hey, David, it's always great to be on your channel, the best IT and cybersecurity channel on YouTube.
Appreciate you saying that as always. And I always say this, one of the big reasons that it's, as good as it is because you are willing to share your knowledge with all of us. Just for everyone who hasn't seen our previous videos and you don't know OTW, he's the author of this book, Linux Basic for Hackers. Very, very popular book on Amazon. Also wrote this book, which I really like because I like networking. So Network Basics for Hackers, as well as getting started becoming a master hacker. So OTW, really appreciate you sharing your knowledge for free with the community. And I believe you've got a really interesting topic that we're going to talk about today. Just for everyone who's watching, OTW and I really wanted to show Bluetooth hacking and jamming, but neither of us want to go to jail, so we can't do that. But OTW, hopefully you've got a topic somewhere, something about that, right?
Well, yes. One of the things that, neither of us wants to go to prison. So we're going to do something that's going to keep us from going to prison, but it's going to show some of the capabilities of IoT, Bluetooth. So the idea here is that, one of the things that we're doing at Hackers Arise is that we're moving deeper and deeper into what are outside of traditional penetration testing. We're working in radio hacking. We're working in IoT, Bluetooth. There's all these devices that are connected by radio signals. And one of those is Bluetooth. Right? Bluetooth is ubiquitous. It's all over the place. It's We have two types of Bluetooth. We have the traditional or the classic Bluetooth, and we have the Bluetooth low energy. And more and more of our devices have Bluetooth low energy just because they're portable devices and we want to spare the amount of power that they consume. And one of the things that one of my listeners, readers brought to me recently was an article that appeared on the news that was about some thieves. I guess they were in San Francisco, I believe. And they sent me this article, and it says tech-savvy thieves use Bluetooth to decide which cars are worth breaking into. Right?
Interesting.
So they're stealing Bluetooth devices, and they're deciding which ones have devices in them that would make it worth breaking in by scanning for Bluetooth. And so this particular person who sent me this article said, "How do they do this? I don't really understand." So I said, "Okay, well, let's go through that process, and I'll show you what can be done." And this is one of the lesser known areas of radio hacking, penetration testing, hacking, what have you, is Bluetooth and some of these radio signals that are all around us. I think you and I have done a couple of, you've done a number of videos on the Flipper Zero. Yep. And one of the beauties of the Flipper Zero is it's made everybody aware of all these radio signals around us that are controlling so many devices. And so the Flipper Zero has some limitations, and we've talked about that, but it's really opened people's eyes. So this is one of the areas that I'm most enthusiastic about in terms of cutting edge hacking, penetration testing, cybersecurity, is these radio signals that are all around us, whether it be Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, or satellites, or cell phones, you name it. They're all giving off radio. They're receiving and sending radio signals that are oftentimes very vulnerable, easily vulnerable. That's what the Flipper Zero showed us, is how easily some of them are vulnerable to attacks. One of those attacks is jamming signals, right? Yep. So, it's kind of like jamming radio signals. In some ways, it's like a DOS attack or a DDoS attack, is that if you can stop the signal from being sent or received, then you've essentially hacked the signal, right? So, for instance, if somebody is in a communication using radios, say, cyber warfare environment, where one division of the army is communicating with the other division of the army, and they're communicating about what their moves are. It might be hard to decrypt the communication, assuming it's encrypted. But if you can block it, right, then you've basically served the purpose. If for instance, we have a lot of security systems. A lot of security systems use radio signals to communicate. Right? So, for instance, the alarm systems will sometimes use Bluetooth or other radio signals, sometimes Wi-Fi, to be able to communicate. And if those can be blocked or jammed, then the security system doesn't work. And these are relatively easy to do. But we can't really show them on YouTube because of legal concerns. The legal concerns that neither one of us wants to violate. Right? Yep. So, but what we're going to do today is to demonstrate to the viewers how thieves are using these radio signals to determine whether or not you have something in your car that's worth breaking into for. Right? So if you have a laptop, whether or not you have a phone, whether or not you have a tablet, these are the devices that the thieves are looking for because they're valuable, right? We all know how much we spend on these things. And so the thieves are using a little bit, not terribly sophisticated, but a little bit of sophisticated technology to determine which cars are worth breaking into. So just kind of keep it, let you know what's going on in the world. For those people who are into security, this is something that you should be aware of, that these devices are giving off a signal and they're telling the thieves who they are and what they are. And this is a way that they can determine, whether or not they want to break into that vehicle. So we're going to talk about Bluetooth scanning. So just scanning the environment and seeing what Bluetooth devices are out there.
One of my team attended one of your courses recently, and it was interesting. She said that, and again, we have to be careful what we say on YouTube, but there were some really interesting people in your course from, I'll just use this as the YouTube analogy, 3-letter agencies, right? So there's a lot of government people, perhaps, or police that are interested in this stuff because of all the problems, I take it.
We have a number of law enforcement who come into our class, and she was a welcome addition to our class. We were really happy to have her there, and she added a lot to our class. But yes, we do have
That's great.
A number of agencies, European and the U.S., who come in and take our classes to learn how a hacker would approach things, and then, of course, how it can be defended. Yes, so we teach both sides of the equation. We're teaching both the offensive and the defensive side of cybersecurity. In any case, what we want to do today is kind of show everybody how the thieves are identifying the vehicles that have something valuable in them that makes it worth them breaking in. So this is for those people who are in law enforcement. This is a way that this is how it's taking place. This is how simple it is to find whether or not a vehicle has a Bluetooth-enabled device in it. That's what we're going to be doing here today. So since most of our viewers are using Kali, we'll start there, and then we'll look at some other ways of doing this. Of course, there's a number of phone and tablet apps that can do something very similar to what we're doing here today. But let's start by using Kali. So one of the things with Kali is that it doesn't natively have tools for Bluetooth in it. Right? So one of the things you're going to need to do any kind of Bluetooth hacking or Bluetooth scanning is go ahead and just go sudo apt and then install, of course. And then there's a set of libraries called BlueEZ, right, that you need. And we've done a little bit of Bluetooth in the past here.
Yeah, just for everyone who's watching, we did a video, which was great to see, where we attacked a phone just by using Bluetooth. And I'll link that below. Yeah.
We also did some Bluetooth in one of the Mr. Robot,
yes,
where he used a device to be able to connect to the policeman's laptop, his Bluetooth adapter. And this kind of brings me to one of the important things I want to point out is that I think Bluetooth is really underappreciated in terms of being a vector to getting inside of the phone or other device, right? People have kind of gone to sleep on Bluetooth, and there's a lot of vulnerabilities in Bluetooth and Bluetooth low energy that can be used to get into the system. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing some simple scanning, just be kind of like maybe like doing an Nmap scan on a TCP/IP network. That's similar. Where you're trying to discover what devices are on the network, what ports are open. That's what we're going to be doing. Okay, now we've got BlueEZ. This is a set of libraries that handle Bluetooth. And one of the things that you want to do is you got to, first of all, if you're using Kali in a virtual machine like I am, I'm using it in Oracle's VirtualBox. So it's a free VM, easy to work with. Sometimes it doesn't work quite as well as VMware's VMware's
Workstation. Yeah.
Workstation. Thank you.
Pro, yeah. It's free now, which is great news, right? So Workstation Pro is now free. Yep.
Right. Workstation is free, and it's a great piece of software. I'm using this one here. This is Oracle's. It's also free. So what we're going to be doing here then is, first of all, we've got to go ahead and generally, if you're using it as a virtual machine, you're going to need to attach a Bluetooth adapter. So we're going to go up here and we're going to look at what devices we have. And I've got one here, and it's designated by the chipset. There's a Cambridge Silicon Radio chip in it. And this one is compatible with Linux. Not all of them are, but most of them are compatible with Linux. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at a few key commands in Bluetooth to be able to function in Bluetooth. In general, most people, in Bluetooth are simply, pairing devices, to turn on the Bluetooth and discover mode. You pair the devices and you can listen to your music or whatever you're doing. But from a cybersecurity perspective, we need to have more capabilities than that. And this is usually outside the realm of most people's skill set because they're used to working within TCP/IP. So the first thing we need to do is that we have an adapter that's now enabled. And so we can go LS USB to make sure that it's actually connected. And there it is right there. So this is list USB. And then we've put in the whole library of Bluetooth tools with the Blue EZ. And so then what we want to do is go HCI config. All right. And you can see that I've got HCI is a designation for Bluetooth. Right? Tells me the bus is USB, gives me the address. So here you can see it's up and running. Oftentimes when you first put in the device, it's going to be down. And what you need to do is to take it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one down and then bring it back up to show you what you need to do. So it's going to be sudo HCI config, all right? And then the device name HCI 0. And yours may be HCI 1. Usually it's going to be HCI 0. And we're going to say down, taking it down. This is going to disconnect it. And then we can just go HCI config. And you'll see that this is normally what it's going to look like when you first install your adapter. Then we're going to take it up. And that means it's going to be running. Right? Now, we've got some tools that are built in here specifically for Bluetooth. And one of them is going to be HCI tools. So we'll go sudo HCI tools, and then let's just do an H and see what it can do. Right? And I spelled it wrong. It has no S at the end of it. There we go. Okay. All right, so here we go. This is HCI tool version 5.71. And if you have to designate the device, you can do it right there. You have displayed the local devices as dev, inquiry, scan, name, info. Okay. And then you go through and you can see the create a connection, disconnect, and a number of others. All right. So we're just scratching the surface of what these tools can do in Bluetooth. And this is part of what we'll be doing in our upcoming Bluetooth hacking class. But right now we're trying to say, how do those thieves know that there's a Bluetooth device in that car?
Exactly.
And there's a simple way of doing that. Using this tool, we can simply go sudo HCI tool, and then sometimes you're going to, if you have more than one Bluetooth adapter, you might have to designate, which adapter you're using, like that. Right? But we only have one, so we don't have to do that. And then we're just going to ask it to go ahead and scan. And this is what the thieves are doing, is they're simply going out and scanning and seeing which Bluetooth devices respond on a scan, very much like an Nmap scan. And it'll tell us not only which ones are there, but also tell us who the manufacturer is and give us a lot of information about those particular. So let's just do that. Let's go do a scan and let's hit enter. And once again, I got the S in there again. All right. And let's go like that. And scanning. So this is what the thieves are doing. They're going along and just scanning and seeing which Bluetooth-enabled devices are going to respond to them. Oh, got one came up. Got two of them. This one came up without a name attached to it. That's kind of interesting. And this one came up. It says it's a Galaxy Note 10. This might be worth breaking into for the thieves, right? Let's try running it again and see if we can get the name coming off this one. Usually we can get more information. Let's try it again. Like all tools, they don't work perfectly all the time. Oh, we got some new ones this time. We've got, looks like a Sony and an Edifier. All right. So we could, obviously just look up this model to see whether or not this is what the thieves would do. As I look up this model, I say, oh, is this something, with the phone in hand or whatever? Is this something that we want to, is it worth breaking in for? And of course, these MAC addresses that you see here are the way that you could connect to it. But in this case, the thieves aren't interested in connecting or hacking. They just want to steal it. And then, of course, they'll try to resell it.
So ODW, do you have a picture of that device, or if we just search for that chipset, we'll be able to find the specific device you're using?
All right, here it is. So this one's made by Panda. You can see it's a Bluetooth 4. There's actually, we're up to Bluetooth 5 right now. So this is an older one, but it works great. One of the things that you'll find in some of the new adapters is that Bluetooth is designed to be for a pico net, a very small network, pico meaning very small. And so the devices are specified that they must be able to extend to about 10 meters, right? So it has a minimum of 10 meters. 10 meters. So that's a pretty small network. But many of the devices can reach up to 100 meters, which is a pretty good distance, right? And so this one right here that I'm using will reach about 10 meters. And it's not going to go much beyond that. But if you have some of the newer devices, you can reach out to 100 meters. And sometimes if you use an antenna in an amplifier, one of the beauties of doing this with, say, a hack RF, which we're going to do next, is that you can use an amplifier and an antenna on it and reach much greater distance. So the really sophisticated thieves are using a hack RF or other software-defined radio to be able to reach out, say, to an entire parking lot, rather than having to walk right alongside the vehicle and scan. You might be able to go to a large parking lot or a parking garage, right, where there's thousands of cars, and then just scan the whole parking lot to find devices within that parking lot, parking garage. Right. So this is the simplest way of doing it, is simply plug in one of these and then, move around. Or what we're going to do next is we're going to use an antenna with the hack RF to do exactly the same thing. So we know that right in this immediate vicinity, we have 2 Bluetooth, or at least 3. We got this one up here. We got a Galaxy Note here. It didn't come up the next time. So this is not unusual. That the Bluetooth, there's sometimes it'll pick it up and sometimes it won't, depending upon if there's anything blocking it. And I guess it's important to say now that if you don't want your Bluetooth-enabled devices to be stolen, the key is to turn them off. Right? Probably the most important thing is don't even leave them in your car, right?
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anybody using this for, breaking into houses, but we do see it being used as a way to breaking into cars. So, if you don't want those devices to be stolen, turn them off, because as long as there's power to these devices, right, they're going to be sending out a beacon that the attackers can see. That's what we've done here. We've gone ahead and seen a couple of these devices. This one, I think, is a TV set here. This one is a speaker system. This one is a phone. Now, so this is the simplest way using Kali. We also have, and we've done this in other videos, is we've used a new operating system, relatively new, called DragonOS.
From a security point of view, cybersecurity point of view, it's a good idea to turn Bluetooth off. But also from this point of view, right, another reason to turn it off.
Right. So from a cybersecurity perspective, it's possible that your Bluetooth adapter can be used as a vector, as a way of getting into your device, your phone. Our phones are probably the greatest repositories of information about us and our lives of anything. People can get your PII, your person identifiable information, maybe your usernames and passwords and what have you, off, some of these data dumps that are on the dark web. But the phone is where everything about you resides, right? So all the personal stuff that's in there, including possibly your banking, text messages, your emails, everything that you're doing in your life, because our phone is like, is an appendage of the human being at this point. So, and almost I think probably can say every phone has a Bluetooth adapter
And the nightmare is when you turn them off, like on Apple, they turn it on the next day, unless you explicitly disable it, right? So if you just swipe down and disable it, it'll re-enable it, which is a nightmare. Sorry, go on.
Right, exactly. So if from a cybersecurity perspective, you want to make sure that Bluetooth adapter is not enabled, okay, because it can be used. Now, one of the strengths, okay, or from the attacker perspective, is that the attacker has to be close to you. This is a PicoNet, right? So you're not going to get, a Nigerian hacker or scammer, or a Russian hacker or a Chinese hacker getting through your Bluetooth. It's a local attack. It's going to be probably within 100 meters, right? Somewhere in that area. So you need to make sure that the Bluetooth is turned off or disabled to keep from somebody getting inside your phone. Now, when we're talking about these thieves who are breaking into cars, it's important that you power the phone off, right? Or the tablet or the laptop or whatever it is. You either take it with you or power it off, because otherwise it's sending out a signal that can be seen by the attackers. And once they see it, then they know that device is inside their vehicle. They break in, grab it, and your life is turned upside down. So
they've got this big problem in London, just to sidetrack for a second, where phones are getting snatched like crazy. So you're just walking along, because people are not oblivious. They're walking along, and then a guy on a bicycle, as an example, rides past and grabs it out of your hand and rides off with it. And in this documentary, they were saying a lot of phones end up in China, like a few days later.
Really?
And it's a huge problem here in the UK with phones being snatched. That's your problem. Your whole life's on that phone, right? So
your whole life's on the phone, yeah. And so that's why this becomes really important to think about the cybersecurity or just the security of your phone. Is that once your phone is gone, then everything is gone. Not only does the attacker have all the information about you, but also that you have to reconnect to all the people that you're connected with and all the other devices you're connected with and all the services that you're connected with. So it becomes quite a nightmare. So we're talking about security and physical security and cyber security for these devices. And what we're focusing on is that Bluetooth is basically giving it away as to where your device is. All right. So let's talk about another way that the thieves can find your devices. And this is a little more powerful, a little more sophisticated, and that we're going to be using. This is DragonOS. DragonOS is a operating system designed specifically for SDR, software-defined radio. So it's a way of hacking radio signals, and we use it for a lot of our classes. We use it for our Bluetooth class, our IoT class coming up, our satellite class coming up. We use it for all of those classes. So let's go ahead and open up a terminal in it. And there's also, if you haven't seen it before, there's a number of tools that are built into it. And you can see there's a lot of tools built in here. This is the other section. It's not under ham radio. So some of the tools, I just don't understand how one decides which tools go where, and some of the tools don't even have links. So that's one thing that you got to get used to with it. But under ham radio, it has a bunch of tools, right? Under other, it has a bunch of tools, and some of them don't even have links on the menu system. So one of the interesting tools that it does have is a tool called Mirage. And Mirage was developed by a couple of French researchers for doing IoT testing. All right, so let's take a look at it. So user, source, and then Mirage, and there we go. And then we just go on ls-l, and you can see that there's a Mirage launcher, right? So we can just go ahead and go sudo, right? Mirage launcher. And this basically just starts the interactive shell. So it's just a way to be able to connect to Mirage and the tools that it has. And the developers have said that they were trying to put together a tool for IoT hacking that had a kind of look and feel of Metasploit. So Most of you have seen Metasploit. I'm not sure how successful they were in giving the same look and feel as Metasploit, but that was their goal. And you can decide whether or not it has the same look and feel. Metasploit has become the standard look and feel for cybersecurity tools. And hit my password in there, and let's see if we can get Mirage going. If I put my password in correctly, there it is, Mirage. So the first thing we're going to do with Mirage is just go list. And, we could do a help, but here's the modules, right? So here's the Bluetooth modules in here. These are the Bluetooth low energy. And so let's talk about this difference between Bluetooth and Bluetooth low energy. Bluetooth Classic has been around for almost 30 years now, and it uses a fair amount of energy. So you'll see Bluetooth Classic being used in devices that, like your speakers that are in your home or your TV set, what have you, where the amount of energy that they use is not that critical. But on mobile devices, Bluetooth low energy is oftentimes you'll see both of them on devices. But the future belongs to Bluetooth low energy. I think we can say that. They don't really share much except they work on the same frequencies, right? So basically, both of them are working at 2.4 gigahertz area. They use different channels, right? But still in the 2.4 gigahertz. And oftentimes we can find an awful lot more devices by scanning for Bluetooth low energy. So oftentimes your phone will have both classic Bluetooth and will have Bluetooth low energy and a number of other devices as well. So you can see that there's a Bluetooth jam right here. We don't want to get in trouble, right? Jamming is illegal in almost every country of the world. Okay, jamming is illegal in almost every country of the world. Now, it's interesting that you can buy jammers in the U.S. At least you can. Right? Wow. They're for sale, openly for sale in the U.S. Let me show you. All right. Now, the law says that you can't use them. And here's a couple of sites that specialize in cell phone jammers. Let's go find one of them here. I'll show you what they have for sale. There's a store called the Jammer Store. This is a company that just sells jammers. And this is $9,500, so it's a significant amount of money. 200 watts. Okay, here they have some against drones, some against GSM, 3G, 4G, 4G WiMAX, Wi-Fi. So these are for sale. You can buy them. And my contacts in law enforcement have told me that generally nobody enforces the law unless you use it. So it's okay to sell it and it's okay to buy it, but you can't turn it on. as long as you don't turn it on, you're safe. So these are, and there's the cheaper ones than this. This is a very 200 watts is a significant power. You can buy cheaper ones for a few hundred, a few thousand, but in any case, this is illegal in almost every country in the world. In any case, so we have the capability of doing a BLE jam. It takes a special adapter to do a BLE jam, and you can see some of the other things. And there's also some simple Bluetooth modules, ESB modules, mouse visualizer, infrared, Mozart, Wi-Fi, and Zigbee module. So this is one of the tools that we'll be using in our IoT hacking class and our Bluetooth hacking class. We have IoT, I think, in October and Bluetooth in January. So the thieves that we're talking about, right, the more sophisticated ones would be using something like, let's go up here and see Bluetooth. They're not very sophisticated. They're just a little more sophisticated than the street thieves. Right? There's a module called BLE Scan. Right? This is a scans module for Bluetooth low energy devices. The beauty of this is that you can attach it to an antenna, a amplifier, and a hack RF to scan wide range of Bluetooth devices. So what we're going to do is we're going to load that module. Okay, I'm going to go BLE. Okay, scan. Okay, so this going to tells me that it's loaded up the BLE scan module. The next step is to look what the arguments are, args. And you can see the arguments are, the amount of time, the address name. These are the fields that it's going to display. And we don't need to put in a target, but we do need to tell it what device we want to use. Now, if you've got a Bluetooth adapter, the HCI can work. In this case, we want to use an SDR device because it gives us greater capabilities. The Bluetooth adapter is going to show us what's available in a near field, right? The Pico field. But by attaching it to a hack RF, we can scan a much broader range. We can also attach an antenna, an amplifier, as I said earlier, and then be able to find Bluetooth devices in a much broader area. So let's do that. Let's make sure that our hack RF is connected here. Let's go and take this down and then go USB. And there's our Great Scott Gadgets hack RF, right? Now, not all of these modules will work with the hack RF, but the Bluetooth will. Right? It's Bluetooth low energy. So we can go set the interface, right, to hack RF, right there. So all we're doing is we're saying rather than using the Bluetooth, the HCI 0, we want to use the hack RF. Now we can go, just look at the ARGs again, and you can see that it's set up to use the hack RF. When I've got the hack RF all set up, it should work. We'll keep our fingers crossed, and then all we need to do is say run, right? And look at it, connected to the hack RF. Oh, it found one device. Let's give it a little time, see if it finds more. So let's go and try again. We found one device. All right. Let's try running it again. We got one. That's all we got. All right. So in this case, looks like we're only going to get this one Bluetooth low energy device. The Bluetooth low energy, you're going to usually find in a highly populated area, you're going to find tens, maybe 100 of them, because so many devices are now running Bluetooth low energy. And they basically, as a Bluetooth low energy devices go to sleep. And so they use very little energy until somebody sends out an inquiry like we've been doing here. And then they wake up and they send back this information telling us who they are. In this case, it's a LE, General Discoverable Mode, all right, it gives us the device's MAC address. And from the MAC address, we can tell what company made it. And oftentimes you can see here, it'll tell us the name and the company. If you've got a moment, I can pull up the output from last week's class. Do you want to
That'd be great,
do that? Yeah, let me do this so we can use that. First of all, we load the BLE scan, and then we set the interface to hack RF, and then we simply run. Now, as you can see on the screen, it's picking up multiple devices in my area.
Nice.
It's giving me the MAC address, the name of the device, the company, which is for the thieves. This is going to be the critical part, right?
Yep.
They want to see what the device's name is and the company. And you can see there's a couple of apples up there. Right? This is going to be intriguing to the thieves. And then based upon that information, they have been deciding whether or not they want to break into those. They don't hacking, they're breaking into the vehicles and stealing the devices that are there. So this is where that beacon that's being sent out by your Bluetooth becomes a signal to the thieves that your device is in there, and it's a valuable device, making it worth breaking into your vehicle to get. So those are two ways that the thieves can find your vehicle. You find the devices, what vehicles have the devices in it. The simplest one is simply using a Bluetooth adapter, and that's going to have to be close to the device, usually like alongside the car or the home. By using a hack RF and an antenna, you can pick up from a much longer range, and the thieves don't have to be right alongside your vehicle to pick up that signal from your Bluetooth device.
OTW, the one question I think some people might have is, okay, let's say I run this and there's 10 cars in front of me. Which one's window do I break? Not that I'll ever do that, but the thieves would.
Well, what you can do, okay, first of all, if you're using the low power one, the one we use in Kali, that's only going to work in a very short distance. So you're going to have to be, the
Very
thieves
close,
will have to be alongside it. Now, if you're using the hack RF, what you can do is use a directional, they can use a directional antenna, all right, and be able to determine whether or not which device is in which vehicle. Because you're going to say like a Yagi antenna, right? You know, the Yagi antenna that, many people have used for Wi-Fi hacking. It's a directional antenna. And that Yagi antenna will be very specific to the vehicle. So the thieves can determine what's inside that vehicle by simply pointing the antenna to that particular vehicle.
I'm glad you said that. And I mean, just for everyone who's watching, and obviously for the YouTube regulations, I've never broken into a car and I never plan to do this. This is just showing you the problems that it's a real problem, right? I've seen videos of San Francisco. It seems like the cars are getting broken into all the time. It's a massive problem, it seems, in the US. And in the UK, phone snatching is a massive problem. So, it's good that you highlight OTW ways that we can, stop this kind of nonsense or help better protect ourselves. And it's just important to remember to turn off Bluetooth for cybersecurity reasons, but also for, protecting your personal property. And as always, don't leave stuff in your car.
Exactly. Yeah, don't leave stuff in your car. And if you do, make sure that Bluetooth signal isn't going out. So turn them off. If you're going to keep them in your vehicle, turn off the phone, turn off the laptop, turn off the tablet, because if they're on, they are sending out a signal that the thieves can pick up and know that there's a valuable device somewhere in that vehicle.
It's interesting what you said about houses, because I saw I don't want to get into the politics, but I saw like in Canada, there's been complaints that the police have said you should leave your car keys in your car or outside so they don't break into your house and hurt you.
To prevent the possibility of being attacked in your home, leave your fobs at your front door.
But it seems like this could also be used, to discover devices in your house, perhaps, and then decide which house to break into.
Yes, it certainly is true, because you can scan the houses in a neighborhood and determine which one of them have valuable devices. But I think that in breaking into a house, usually there's more valuable things than simply a phone. And so that the phone might be a secondary target versus other things that might be in the house that the thieves are looking for. So that's probably why we're not seeing this used primarily in breaking into houses, but into cars, where the most valuable thing inside the car might be the phone or the laptop.
OTW, again, I really want to thank you for sharing your knowledge. And just for everyone who's watching, I've put a link to OTW's website below. OTW, thanks so much. You run a special, right? So if someone uses my special code, they get a discount, correct?
Yes, we have the 20% off with Bombal, BOMBAL, 20% off anything in our online store.
And I really appreciate you sharing this for free. Just for everyone who's watching, again, we can't put stuff on YouTube that we really want to share, but OTW can show you more stuff in his courses. So if you want to join 3-letter agencies who attend his courses, or security people that join the course and learn both blue team and red team, I'll put that link below. OTW, I like our discussions where you balance offensive security, but you also look at defense. And that's what you teach in your classes, right?
Right. We try to teach both offense and defense. And for the people who are primarily on the defensive side, who are protecting the corporate assets, I think it's really important that they understand how the attackers are getting in. You can better defend the more you know about the techniques of the attackers.
Again, for everyone who's watching, put comments below, stuff that you'd like us to cover. OTW has a huge amount of knowledge. You were teaching my team about, I think it was cyber law. And I mean, your knowledge stretches way across a whole whole range of realms. So please put your comments below, stuff that you'd like me to ask OTW, and the kind of videos you'd like to see. I know a lot of you have been commenting and asking for him to come back. So again, let us know the topics that you want to see. OTW, thanks as always.
Thank you, David. It's always great being on your show.